global family. Hello, hello. This is Heather Lockett with Lasting Conversations. I'm in new digs. This is spectacular. I have rounded year one with the Lasting Conversations podcast, and October marks my second year anniversary. Woohoo! Woohoo! Yay! And I have my good buddy Janine here with me, and this is her studio StellaMix. We'll get into that in 1 second. But Janine Stella was with me in the beginning of my show a year ago. So she was my show doula, my birthing genius. And I knew that there was, I was stepping in to something that was part of a greater calling, but I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And so Janine and the team at the time helped me literally find my voice and get my wigglies out so I wasn't so shy in front of a microphone. And then when they brought in cameras, that was a whole nother scenario. So thank you, Janine. Now I'm here. I have another home base. I have moved off. And as most of you know, I was traveling and around town, and the show will still go on the road. This is what I love about this, is that I have a home base. I can be on camera with the fancy lights and the fancy equipment, and also continue to be where the show is called to be, with the people that it's called to be with. So, hi, Janine.
Hi, Heather. I'm so excited and just inspired and in awe of you, your growth, and your show. And I'm excited to be on Lasting Conversations.
Well, thank you. And you were here with us. You were, I think, show 4 or 5 last year, talking about, again, the things that you were doing and your passions in your relationship. We kind of covered so many grounds, and that's a fun one to go back and listen to, as a matter of fact. Today, I wanted to talk about a few things. One has to do with women in business, but that stepping in and stepping forward into something else. And sometimes you can call it the universe, you can call it our workspace, you can call it the people we are with, gives us these pokes and these nudges that something might not be right, and or you're ready for something even bigger. So you moved on from the previous location, but that opened you to spread your wings. So tell us how StellaMix came into being.
So that's a really good question. I had been ultimately my end game since I started podcasting in 2020 was my dream was always to have my own studio. And before I worked in my previous employment, I had actually started to build a studio in Broward County with MacGyver over here. We built it out.
Your husband?
Yeah, with the hubby.
Yeah.
We had started building it out. It was in a really cool industrial warehouse, similar to this location, but the parking wasn't that great. And we had built like soundproof room and an engineering room, and literally it was moving along. But we realized that with the amount of traffic we were going to have, the parking situation definitely was not ideal. And so we kind of put that on pause, and a dear friend of mine, Emiliano, who I had been a customer of for years, he was my OG when I originally started and did all of my swag and my business cards and my banners when I'd go to live events and my T-shirts, and I had chapstick that had my radio show when I initially started.
'Cause you've been a producer for a while. You've done all kinds of other iterations, not just the podcasting, but you've also had your own podcast. So you were very well rounded into all the fun things that you're doing.
I had started in television production, and I was in the TV world for a while before I got into podcasting, and everyone really thought I was nuts because they're like, what is this what are you doing?
Right.
And it was years ago, and now it's like so many people have podcasts, but in the beginning, I'm like, this is what I want to do. I was steadfast on it. This is what I want to do. This is my career. I want to be in this world. I feel like I found my voice. And when Emiliano was building this, he remembered that I ultimately wanted to have my own studio. So he said, hey, listen, this is a creative co-working space here in Delray. And one of the things I wanted to offer is I wanted to initially do what he said, a conference room where people could come in and have a private conference. But I had said to him, well, why don't we do, podcast instead?
Right.
So he goes, yeah, I think we should do a podcasting studio and we'll make it soundproof. And it can be DIY. You can have your own podcast management company and we'll give it a shot. And I did hesitate. I was terrified. Truth be told, I was terrified. And we'll get into that women in business later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Those terrifying moments. Yeah.
Terrifying. Absolutely scared out of my mind. It took me a year to get the guts to actually make the jump into my own business. And we'll get into that. But
sure.
I'm so glad that I'm here. This is a super creative space that we're in Delray. We're in a very industrial office warehouse district. It's kind of like the mini Wynwood of the Palm Beaches. It's called the Andre Design District.
And it's super cool with all these little micro businesses doing really fun things. You've got auto mechanics to bakers to cupcakes and hairdressers and everybody doing their thing.
It's fun. It's eclectic.
Yeah.
We were doing art walks once a month with all the vendors coming by, and I think we're going to start that up again. So it's really fun, really cool neighbors. We just had a tattoo shop open down the way, which I'm so excited about because...
But you're not tatted up, though.
I ain't. Well, I've got 3.
Oh, okay, well.
2 are unseen.
Okay.
2 are... But it's just so exciting.
Right.
So I'm happy to be here, and I'm so happy that you found a new family and a new home to have your home base.
Well, thank you. So let's go ahead and get to that terrifying jump part. Because I think that is, well, I know a wonderful person that was with us at an amazing conference years ago, Celebrate Your Life. And Lisa, I know her name is Lisa, and I'm completely blanking on which of the Lisas. I don't want to misspeak, but she was saying, you know, when you want to stretch yourself and you're trying to level up into something more, if it makes you pee a little, it's got to make you pee a little, because then that's a good sign, actually. Well, of course, last couple of weeks, some of that might have been happening, which is a sign that I'm morphing into something more and greater. Don't know exactly yet, but you'll help me. We are going to keep birthing this iteration of the show. And who knows, maybe it'll be more than once a week. Maybe it'll just take off into something completely different. But for right now, I still love the one-on-one. And there's room to have more than one at the table as well. So the conversations just keep going. And I have a list in my head, and I have some people that really are eager to come and join us and voice what they really need to say. Because the goal here is I might be talking, but we are all talking. We're all talking through and for each other. So let's go ahead back to that whole transitional phase. Because I didn't realize that this has been something really planted within you. Because when we met, you were gainfully employed and a very busy woman. So perhaps was there a chicken and egg? Was the impetus to go ahead and make this leap because something became untenable, or really the untenable maybe just been a catalyst and that wasn't even part of the whole thing because you were meant to do this all along?
I think I took valuable information from being employed for several years of my life in every job I've ever had, whether it be TV production, whether it be podcasting and management and overall. And I just wanted to make it my way.
Right.
I just wanted to make it Janine's way. Not necessarily that it's better or worse.
Correct.
But just that it was the way I felt like it should be done.
But I like that part of, because we learn every step of the way. There are really no mistakes ever. And even if we end up, no matter what the scenario, if it, I had a marriage that ended up really funky. I can't say that was wrong or bad. It just got to be a shit show enough to say, and that's enough. And that's enough. So, but that's still a learning curve. We learn everywhere we go. And so keep going. I appreciate what you're saying, that each place is a learning curve, plus the stability of that paycheck and whatever you need before you're ready to make your jump.
I was terrified.
Yeah.
I literally was, I've always worked for somebody my entire life. I've always had whether it's a 1099 or a W-2, and filed my taxes and had that stability.
Right.
Since I got out of college. So the thought of, I knew I could do it, but I didn't have the belief, almost that little voice inside said, well, what if? What if you can't do it? What if you fail? What if you try and then realize that it's not that easy, which I never thought it would be easy to start, but that it wouldn't be something that would be prosperous. What are you going to do then? And once I made the jump and I got through my first, I would say 2 to 3 months in business, where I was still trying to do marketing, I was still trying to get my name out there and let people know that, hey, listen, I've gone out on my own. This is my own company now. Once I got into that, it was a game changer for me. You start gaining confidence with your first couple of clients, and then you start to branch off. And then my company, it's still brand new because it's not even a year yet. So certain things that I've implemented have changed and morphed and grown, and different services I offer now I didn't offer 8 months ago. So it's really kind of its own living, breathing thing, a business.
Which is perfect. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing, because then, and especially as a smaller unit, you can grow and evolve and change and morph as needed and as presented. Excuse me. So I love that. And I have to say that there's a little happy tear that came in when you were mentioning about being scared and the what ifs, because the wonderful Deborah Weed has her book called If Only. And if only, and that was one of my shows that we did a number of months ago. And if only is this little snowflake, and the snowflake just starts falling, but wants to say, well, what if I did this? Or if only I could stay here. But no, we can't. We have to keep moving. And it's about faith. And it's about literally making that jump and knowing that there are changes and that we're supported. We're always supported in ways that we cannot even see. So I know the synchronicities, we get laughing at how we knew each other in a different format even way before we even knew each other.
So true.
You never know how our paths cross in ways that are quite metaphysical.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just have to say, I am very blessed. I've lived here my entire life. South Florida is my home. But if it were not for the belief in my husband and Emiliano to make that leap and to do this, and when I do have doubt or when I have a bad day, to ask them questions, because they've always been business owners, I have that to fall back on. So I really feel blessed in that capacity that I have a strong soundboard that I can go to. I had a situation yesterday. I had them. They're like my committee. What do I do? Here's the situation. What do I do? It's easy for business owners that have been doing this for 20 years to say, this is how I would approach it. And me, being me, would have approached it completely different. So I'm really grateful and blessed that I am able to have that support system that I do.
Well, I love that you're saying this, because, which is part of my leap myself, is understanding I need more support. I needed more support and that mentorship. And I remember reaching out and making a phone call and saying, I trust you implicitly.
I remember that, and it made my heart happy.
I trust her implicitly, because she helped me with the show, and you were that backbone, and you were that one to say, no, I got you, and I know what I'm doing. Please honor that. I mean, you didn't say honor that, but it was more like, we've got you. And so coming here is the same thing. I knew that I needed a good team, a good supportive team, and that I can also allow, because I'm kind of a solo unit, but sometimes you have to say, oh, I actually need help and better help and real supportive help. And this is why I've landed here, that as part of the whole Pixelworks team, they're going to help me and this whole show blossom and do things like, I've been on social, I've been public, but no, really public. And that is that's not my wheelhouse. So I say, thank you for those who are geniuses in their wheelhouse.
Absolutely.
And appreciate that. So that each one needs other people. We need each other, really.
We do need other people.
We really
Everyone
do.
Needs a village and needs a support system. And as much as people say they can do it by themselves, at the end of the day, if you don't have one or two or three people that really have your back,
Correct.
You start to have self-doubt, and you need that support and belief in yourself to keep going and thriving and et cetera.
Oh, et cetera. And then we can get into, we'll talk to other psychiatrists with it, but that you could get into the spiral, the spiraling out, or the downward spiral where you can't even move anymore. So exactly. There's independence. And I think that there is a fine line, the difference between feeling solid and independent and autonomous and sovereign in yourself, which is different than being in your own echo chamber without that help, without the faith of knowing that you are part of a community. And I know that part of the show, all about the show, is not only a joy and love, but it's about community and it's about connection. And this is, again, where, every day is a learning curve. So for myself is where do I no longer need to be so singular and independent, but to allow the good team. That's a whole different show too, is where has it been, if you hitch onto the narcissistic side that might present well, but then they're gone. You don't exist in their world. So I'm done with that. And we're just moving into, this is team fun and where we each have each other's back.
I know, I'm excited.
It's really exciting.
I'm excited to where this show is going. I'm excited for lasting conversations. And when I hear the name Lasting Conversations, just on a side note, it makes me happy because some of the best moments of my life have been conversations. Just a conversation that you think about 20, 30 years later. They're words, but they last, and they last a lifetime. And so they're memorable. And I think what you're doing is making conversations memorable that are a part of your life, a part of your journey, and important conversations from all different aspects of culture and people and background to make people stick and make something in their mind stick.
I like that. That's actually very where it can land. And I have said this is a soft place to land in a sea of loud, and that this is meant for all of us to share a voice, but it's different. And I have talked about the difference, but how do you have seen, what do you think about Lasting Conversations? And in your purview, you have clients, you have other shows. God knows there are millions of other shows out there. What makes this one the one that's pretty darn cool?
What I love about Lasting Conversations is that I'm a conversationalist. So for me, when I see, and I'm looking at your cover art right now, and when I look at that cover art with the beautiful beach and the beautiful script and the font that you have chosen for that, it takes me back to my roots. It takes me back to a feeling of serenity that I can't explain. And what I love about the way your show operates is that you have total control over your subject matter. You carry yourself as a host in such a manner that is inspiring, and you've flourished and grown into this role, and you've been doing it for a year. So you have mastered your craft and you're learning new things every day.
Right.
And I love to see that transition in people. You've taken your show from certain kinds of guests, then you've had other kinds of guests. Now you're going into another realm that we're going to go into a whole different stratosphere of guests. So it evolves. It's a living, breathing thing, this podcast, Lasting Conversations.
It really is. And it has felt different somehow. And it's fun. It is like a ministry without saying church, but we're here to just really feel and feel good or feel inspired, feel, again, that we're not alone, and to learn and tap into some really cool things. So I've had, again, I'll do my 60 at 60 and do this fun little recap thing when that happens. But I know moving forward, we're going to talk about the metaphysical. We're going to talk about health in different ways. We're going to talk about kiddos. Maybe we'll have some kiddos in here. There's this boy who's making rounds on the internet now that he is literally a star child. He is a star child. So we're here.
He has the light.
He is it. And he just is like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. So we're really, really, really going to go there with all kinds of things that make us human and beyond human. But this is what the fun part is. And where else are you seeing this in terms of, we're going to get into sponsorships, we're going to get into engagement, and how are you finding that part in terms of, this is part of my own mentorship. And I've been running this boat, and now what? It's a bigger boat.
You're right. And now it's time, in my opinion, to level up with your types of guests and their following, because there's a lot of people, and referencing what you said about the metaphysical, there's a lot of people in that health and wellness realm that are esteemed authors and people that are focused in their field, whether it be in yoga, meditation, sound baths, healing. There are so many people that have these followings that I think it would be really interesting for Heather Lockett to have that conversation with them.
Right.
Figure them out and present them to your audience. Because a lot of people may not have heard some of these famous names, or people that specialize in certain things, whether it's yoga nidra or certain types of meditation and certain types of healing that people may have not even known about. Mm-hmm. So I think those conversations, you're opening up another realm to your audience. And then with that, I think sponsorship opportunity will come once people understand this is not your normal podcast.
Right.
This is a different type of show. This is not, for better words, this is not just haphazardly, accidentally having a conversation. These are conversations on purpose and with a point. And I think that's the difference with your show.
I thank you for that. I wholeheartedly agree, because we get to the heart of everything. So whether we talk about business, and I know that there are mega business owners that will say that they would love to come on the show, but I'm not here to be a salesy. Mm-hmm. It's not a pitch show. It's what is at the heart of what their passions have been. Mm-hmm. And again, it's all that synergistic stuff of the things that we might like to purchase, but how they affect our lives and the funny stories along that way. So I like that. It always has a purpose to it. Versus buy my stuff, buy their stuff, and let's move on. Or I'm going to yell at you and tell you how to do something. We're not going to do that either.
And that's a key point that I think a lot of podcasters make that mistake. They have a business owner will approach them and they'll say, I really want to be on your show, because now that you're in the top 10% of global podcasts,
which we are. Thank you.
Yes.
Yay.
Lasting conversation. Yay. It's enticing for a business to want to advertise on that.
Yeah.
But they can advertise with ads, but they don't necessarily have to be a guest, mm-hmm. which may not be ideal for your audience. They might want to sponsor your show, but maybe you can figure out a storyline later on that can tie into maybe them being featured on your show. Mm-hmm. But your show is about lasting conversation and about heart.
Right.
And if you can't connect the two,
correct,
and people aren't willing to open up and be vulnerable about their story, then there's really no point to having them on.
Correct. So if they want to be a sponsor, that's one thing. However, you're right. For this microphone, for my Zoom microphone, for my telephone camera microphone, if there isn't that, you said vulnerability, if someone is not able or willing to let their guard down and just be for a little bit without having the bravado, this wouldn't be the show for them.
Agreed.
Yeah, this is so cool. So is there something else in terms of vision for StellaMix, vision for you, vision for us? We can get into maybe the women in business. How are you finding that? Are you finding a community? But again, you have some really guy mentors here. This is your team. What else is happening in terms of being a woman in business and making these steps to say, yes, 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 I certainly can?
That is such a good question. Talking about going deep and being vulnerable. I have always been, and as you know, my childhood history, I was raised by a single dad. So I am naturally comfortable with men.
I've been doing that too. Right. I worked mostly with
Yes.
men and came down here and then had women friends. So I understand where you're coming from.
It's a different juxtaposition.
Right.
I'm now that I'm comfortable in my months of business, I'm now starting to, I actually met yesterday at an event with the head of the Delray Beach Women's Chamber. I think whether it's a chamber or the women's, what is it? The
Like a coalition of some sort.
coalition of
Yeah.
Delray Beach. Everyone knows her. Her name's Joy. She's fabulous. But it's kind of scary for me because I'm not used to being in that vernacular. I'm used to being in a room full of men and being the only woman. That's where I'm comfortable. But there's no growth in comfort. You have to step out of the box and get out of your comfort zone. So for me to flourish as a business owner and a female business owner, I have to celebrate that and understand how other women in business are doing it, how they're successful, their strengths, their failures, what they've done, their process. It's a whole thing.
Their family juggle, their marriages juggle. Yeah, the juggle of it all.
The juggle of it all. You know, I tend the first 5 months, I took my laptop home and I didn't leave it in the office. I would work until 10 and 11 o'clock at night and work a full day. So 16 hours a day as a new business owner, I thought was normal. I thought, well, I have to do this if I'm a business owner.
You got to grind it out. That's an old mantra.
It's an old mantra, right?
An old mantra.
You have to put in those hours. And that's what I was taught all these years. But now what I'm finding is I need that balance. I need to be able to shut off my computer and say, you know what? It can wait another day.
Right.
It doesn't have to be done today or tomorrow. You just have to be okay with it, set your own schedule, set a deadline, and tackle it with a clear head.
Well, there you go. So there's the scheduling boundaries and then the mental boundaries. And to say, listen, I'm gonna take my work hat off, which I get it. And it's a 24/7 world right now with our phones and the emails and everything else. So I get that. And just know that I don't want to send you 9 and 10 o'clock texts. And so that's, we'll work that out in terms of saying, no, we're finished here because now it's time to go play. And
this is plain for me.
Well, so that's where it too, right?
That's where my problem lies.
Like if you told musicians, no, don't play on a Sunday afternoon, they'll go, what are you, crazy? So exactly.
It's one of those, when you love what you do, you really don't feel like you're working. I play for a living. I don't work. I enjoy what I do, and I'm very blessed to wake up in the morning and be able to help and watch others flourish.
Right.
I think that is the most exciting thing you could possibly do. And if you're not doing that every day, I beg you, if you are in the rut as a business owner, as someone who's worked for someone else my entire life, and just stepping out at 41 years old on my own, I can honestly say that I don't even look at the time or the clock. None of that matters. Hours will go by because I'm so immersed in what I'm doing and I'm so happy doing it. And I pray and I wish that for everyone, no matter what they're doing, that they can just fall in love with it.
Well, that's just it, because I could do this all day. That's what came to mind last year, and especially there's something different about sitting in the chair with somebody, but I can do it all day. I love it.
And you're good at it.
And I'm good at it. Yeah, that's what was like, oh yeah, this is cool.
You're a naturally good host and leader and ask great questions and you're curious and really get to the heart of what people are all about. And that's what makes a good podcast host. If I could bottle you up and tell every podcaster out there, listen to Lasting Conversations, because the structure of your show and the ease of it, it doesn't seem structured, but it's very well orchestrated.
Right. There are never any scripts.
But it's so well thought out. So if I could give anyone advice, it would be listen, go back to episode 1 of Lasting Conversations. Listen to the evolution of Heather Lockett. God, that sounds good. The evolution of Heather Lockett. Lasting Conversations.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Now, as my social media team, you can spin that. You can do that.
I love that.
The re-evolution.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that fun?
Sounds fabulous.
Yeah.
We're going to have some big new changes with headshots and logos and revamping and social media and just another world for you. And I'm excited for chapter, second season.
Second season. It is. Yeah, definitely second season leading into what else?
The unknown.
It is the unknown.
And the unknown, there's excitement in the unknown.
Right.
It's a journey.
It's like it's a good old moonwalk.
Ooh. That's good.
See?
That's a good episode title, The Moonwalk.
Well, it's the steps for mankind. This is really what I'm here for.
And if Heather
ever
invites you to the planetarium to listen to this amazing, I don't know what you wanted.
It was a sound bath journey. That's what Kathleen Hayden and John Anthony, they were on my show earlier too, talking about sound and vibration.
Fabulous.
You were there. Yeah.
Fabulous. I will do it every time. That was regenerate. What do you want to call it? It was
regenerating.
It really was. Rejuvenating. That's what it was.
That's right. You guys walked in, especially you walked in at a busy day and then came out a whole different person.
Oh, yeah.
A whole different person.
You just take a minute and the people in there were the energy in that room was everyone was vibing together.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted the best for each other and themselves. And I think that's the best part about Lasting Conversations is what can you gain out of listening to an episode of Lasting Conversations with Heather Lockett? You're going to gain something from every single person that you have on in every episode. And the title, which is very well connected with each and every episode, it all goes together in this living, breathing thing that you have going on. That's just really darn exciting.
Thank you. It is living and breathing. It's that's just it. And sometimes we might end up even being pretty silent and taking that pause and just feeling that resonance that is in the space between words and the space between whatever it is, the thoughts and all of that. Yeah, we're going to go way more metaphysical, but it's the best part. It's very grounded because we're here to be people on earth and we'll just continue to flourish and flow. And I think right now people are feeling really at unease, and this is globally, and this is a global show. And so for everybody feeling away or they're literally scared, whether you know us or not, I'm having an actual amazing deja vu, as a matter of fact.
Oh,
we always have your back, and just reach out or throw up a prayer, but we have you. We do. Everybody.
And that's the really great part about a global audience and with podcasting is who are you reaching? Who's listening? Where are they listening
And what
from?
would you like to say? That's just it. Please reach out. We'll get into all the tagline-y stuff, but reach out. Because if you have something that you need to say, let us know. Really?
Absolutely.
Really?
And if you have a question
or
you have someone that would be perfect and ideal for this audience, that email Heather, ask her.
Right.
She's open. She's available. She is right on top of her email. She will get back to you within a 24-hour period. I can guarantee you that.
Definitely. Well, and here's the thing is it's also about shifting perspectives. And so, I might have a certain perspective here in sunny Florida, but you might be halfway around the world with an entirely different perspective. And that was one of my other shows with Lisa Bolton, who travels the world. And her vignettes and from her come from of eating, from toileting, from how people interact with each other is so different than from my little world. And so this is where I love, year 2, bring on the engagement, bring on your perspective. We don't do bashing. This is not a yelling and venting show. This is getting to the heart of what makes us all together on this one little marble called Earth.
I like that. Earth is a marble. And that is so true. We are one.
Sometimes we've lost our marbles, but really,
yes,
it feels right now that we're all losing our marbles. But again, And we'll have other folks on the show to talk about feeling normalized and feeling, but in the best healthy way. So we're really tapping into health and honoring our own systems and honoring our families and moving forward in the best way, evolutionary possible. We're in a evolution, so it's a big deal right now.
It is. The cosmos is shifting.
Yeah.
The world is shifting.
The world is shifting.
Humanity is so different today, but are we really? It seems like with everything going on in the world, we're still human at the end of the day.
We're always human, yeah, and that can be really scary because some people don't like to play nice.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So we're all struggling to find love,
Right.
serenity, and peace.
Right.
At the end of the day, we all want that. Everyone wants that.
Everybody wants that. And this is going to circle right back to the jumping off and into what might be a more supportive location. And if you're in a violent location, God knows that, again, we all have your back. But if you're in an area where you can make a leap and find help, do that. And in our own ways, in micro and macro ways, we have made our leap. I made a leap from one place, my home. I've been kind of untethered a little bit and re-landing in home, in profession, in studios, in teams. But that's just it, to really do that deep dive to understand, oh, this is time for another set of a team, a supportive team. So that's what I aim for here on my show, is that you are part of the show and you're getting all the support that you need as listeners, as guests, as for the world around us.
Listen to Lasting Conversations. Start from episode 1. You won't
start from the
regret
trailer,
it.
actually.
Oh yeah, the trailer
the trailer's
was
kind of cool.
fabulous.
That was where she sat with me for a long time. We got it right, and when we got it right, it was silence in the room and the goosebumps.
Just flows. It just flows.
Goes, right.
Because you're an artist, Heather, and you're creating content, and you are literally a content creator. What do you do for a living? I'm a content creator. I create lasting conversations. There's an art to that. Not everyone can do that and can do it well. That's why leave Heather a 5-star review, rate her, write her an email. Let her know if you're enjoying the show, because at the end of the day, every single episode is crafted with thought, consideration, and dedication.
And love.
And lots of love.
And lots of love. And I love you, Janine.
I love you, Miss Heather. You're the best.
I think that's a good way to end. That's a nice little cherry on top.
Agreed.
Oh,
Agreed.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you for having me
Well,
on.
and thank you for welcoming into your home. This is your nice little studio home. And that you have, again, the technology and the ability for me to fly and wherever I'm meant to be for a certain show or episode. I'll be either here in studio or on the road or on Zoom or whatever it's going to be. So thanks, Janine.
You're so welcome, Heather. Listen to Lasting Conversations, and I'm so happy to have Heather back.
That's true. That's true. Okay, welcome to year 2, everybody. This is Lasting Conversations. We get to the heart of everything.